OST 2016. This is interviews, music reviews, and more. This is The Hodder Show.
What is up, everybody? We're rolling audio here today on episode 352 of The Hodder Show. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on a very special Sunday edition of The Hodder Show. That's right, we're happening here on Sunday at The Hodder Show camp, and I could not be more excited to be bringing you guys a fantastic and fun as hell conversation with my buddy Tim Coleman from the almighty Septum Bone. Now, this is an interesting conversation because we talk all about how the journey has been for Tim and his band of brothers in Septum Bone, and the journeys that they have taken in the prehistoric world, and how things differ, and how they went about doing things in their daily life back in that time frame. And then we also explore how they created music and where Septum Bone came from as far as a band and what they plan to do. We also hear their brand new single, Excited Grunt, in its entirety. And then when we come back from that, Tim breaks down a little bit more about the band and kind of life in general, what he's been up to, some almost inspirational talk. So it's a great conversation. I hope that you guys enjoy it. Before we jump into it, I got to take a second to thank everybody for their support on last week's episode of the show. My chat with Mike Penny from the Jailbirds. That was a lot of fun. Thank you so very much to everyone over at the Jailbirds camp and their fan club and their fans. That was great. I really appreciate it. Big shout outs to Dawn and Kaylin for sharing that episode as well. You guys know how much I appreciate you. So go back and check out that episode and check out their brand new single because it is freaking kick ass. Just like this conversation is kick ass. And right before we jump in, we're going to take a quick second to hear a word from the sponsors who are helping the Hodder Show grow. Let's check it out. From the mighty Septum Bone, we have my old buddy, Mr. Tim Coleman. Tim, what's up, man? How you doing?
UNGA BUNGA, man. How's life?
Life is UNGA BUNGA for sure, dude. I appreciate you taking the time. I know that you're real busy over there in your cave, but you got a nice setup over there, by the way.
Thanks, man. We've come a long way. We've had about 3.5 million years to get this thing set up. A lot of knowledge to pass on,
I'm just curious, just because I haven't had the opportunity to speak with someone with your life experience. Real quick, give me like a couple of tips for hunting a dinosaur.
So the first thing you're going to want to do when you hunt this dinosaur, you're going to need a really pointy stick.
Okay.
So the first thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to whittle down a stick, make it really pointy. Second thing, you're going to learn to make fire. So when you make the fire, you're going to put the pointy stick into the fire, and then you're going to throw it at the dinosaur. And you're going to want to have several of those pointy sticks, lit up so you can toss them out, eradicate the dinosaur, drag it back, and, your family's got food for like at least 1 to 2 weeks.
Now I'm curious, on a dinosaur, is it like obviously the more modern animals, your cows and chickens and things of that nature. Is the dinosaur, does it have similar types of cuts of meat, or is it just kind of like whatever you can get off it?
Dude, dino tail is so great. I don't know if you've ever had gator tail. It's very similar in taste and texture. It was much easier once we figured out how to kill the gators than the dinosaurs, because it is so similar. It is much easier for us to go, get the gators or the crocodiles. As opposed to the dinosaurs, because man, it's difficult.
It's fair. Tough. Now, I can only imagine. I mean, I've seen gator wrestling before, and I mean that I couldn't even imagine wrestling a dinosaur. There was, of course, I wrestled a bear once, but I'm sure at some point there may have been a band that you may have even been a part of. I wrestled a dinosaur, which is definitely more impressive.
It's really just. We killed off the dinosaurs.
Right.
It wasn't the Ice Age. It was Septum Bone.
Septum Bone killed off the dinosaurs. So that's not even conspiracy. That's right from you when you were there. So I mean, you can confirm this.
Yes,
you
that
were
is
there.
fact. That's
Right.
correct. The history books are incorrect. First-hand account.
Right. Okay. This is just fascinating. So I have to ask too, you mentioned gators and crocodiles and that. So how do you feel now at this point in your life, being again over 3 million years old now, if I'm not mistaken? How do you feel now anytime you see a gator? Like, does it bring back memories of those massive creatures? Because as much as you were hunting dinosaurs for food and things of that nature, there had to be some that were just kind of majestic creatures you enjoyed watching. Do you kind of have that similar feeling with gators now, or how do you feel about them now?
I still have the urge to kill them and eat them. That has not changed over the past couple million years.
So even though I would think that even there might be some that you would ever keep as pets or anything. Like, was that ever a thing, or you just literally pointy stick in the fire, throw it, we need to eat?
No, we love dogs.
Okay, fair. Okay. I can get that. Did you have like a first domesticated dog back in the day, or?
Yes, I did. His name was Corpse Grinder.
Corpse Grinder, very good.
Yes. The band Cannibal Corpse, their vocalist stole our dog's name. But that happened a couple million years later, so I'm willing to let that slide.
Yeah, you can let that go. And I can appreciate that. And I'm sure they do as well. Now, obviously, given the style of music that Septum Bone plays, I would have to imagine that you guys were, let's be honest, probably very responsible for not only probably creating music in general, I would have to imagine, but also creating that guttural sound. Where did that come from?
Well, first of all, it took us a very long time just to invent instruments. So, it took us so long to invent the instruments and then to try to learn to play them. So it's not so much gutturals for the vocals either. That's just how he talks.
Right.
I'm the only one of us that speaks English. That's why I'm here.
Well, and I appreciated that, because when I was first reached out to, I couldn't really understand the message, but I was like, okay, I think what's happening here is they're trying to contact me to come on the show. And it's an honor for me because I am such a fan of Septum Bone and the legacy you guys have built over the last millions of years. But it was kind of a surprise to me when I was like, well, I know Tim, and I had no idea about this whole other life that you've lived. I just assumed you were in your 30s or whatever. And it turns out that I was way off. But you mentioned there, I want to go back for a second. You mentioned building the first instruments. That first instrument that produced a note, what was that instrument like?
It was a drum, had a skin over it. The folks at home can't see me showing you what this actually looks like right now.
He's giving a very detailed look of what this instrument would have been.
Yes, I'm drawing it out. So I think modern day, it looks more like a bongo. Okay. I think that's what it would be called, but very similar.
Now, obviously with that, because I picture you guys in your wonderful cave with your fire and your pointy sticks. You've already eaten your dinosaur for the day. So you've stretched this skin over this drum, and you just start smacking it and you kind of figure things out from there. Was there a moment where you guys were like, oh, okay, we're getting somewhere?
That's kind of how it started. And then, we shaped some bones into what were the first guitars. We used the hair that we collected. We braided it into actual strings, and that's how the first guitars were made. We replicated that with the bass guitar, just made it larger. And I don't know how we invented microphones. I was not directly involved in that, but I'm glad that was invented somewhere along the way.
I would imagine when you're playing these new age instruments back in that time period, when you're doing the vocals, which is, again, as we've said, it's just really you guys talking. I would imagine that would be really harsh in your voice, having to just yell over everything because there were no microphones invented, of course, at that time. That's
exactly how it started. That was more so out of necessity than anything. And it really, it got the attention of the people.
So when you guys, I have to just, when you guys emerged for the first time, Septum Bone, coming out with your instruments, you figured out what you're going for. What was that first experience like playing for people and them crowding around you? What was that like? The first concert ever.
I love that you asked that question. A great question, Hodder. So it wasn't actually for people.
Okay.
That is what killed the Dinosaurs.
Oh my goodness, really? Okay, so what?
Dropping truths on you over here.
Yeah, this is folks. I hope you can appreciate this. This is a history of the world as we know it that we never knew, and we're hearing here first for the first time ever. And I mean, I appreciate these exclusive things here. So walk me through it. What exactly happened?
So we pulled our stuff out of the cave, and we decided we're gonna celebrate today. So we built our fire and we put our stabs around us just in case something went crazy. We're about to play music for the first time ever in the history of time. So, we don't know what's going to happen. And we hit that first note and everything changed. The Dinosaurs just collapsed. We heard this big rumble, and I think that is when Pangea also broke. I can't confirm that, though. We didn't have maps then.
Right. So do you think, in your opinion, obviously you are a man of metal, maybe not a man of science, but clearly a very, with your millions of years of experience on this earth, definitely obviously very intelligent. Do you feel, in your opinion, that first note when it was struck was the quote unquote meteor hitting the earth that everyone thinks it is? That big bang, so to speak, that just changed the whole format of the world, right?
You really just uncovered the true meaning of what started all of this.
Wow. So it was Septum Bone this whole time.
This entire time. We've just been laying low. We've been writing millions of years worth of material. We have a lot of knowledge to share. I mean, this first song, Excited Grunt, it's just about how excited we were about making fire. We have so many more things to tell you guys about. The wheel.
I personally, as much as I love Excited Grunt, I cannot wait for the wheel. That was a life-changing. Music is great. We're going to talk about music for sure because I want to get into Excited Grunt. And of course, we're going to play that for everybody too in a little bit here. But I have to ask, as fantastic as Fire was, and of course the pointy sticks, was it just a step up when you guys realized that you can carve stone into things like spear tips and the wheel?
That's definitely a huge technological step for us. I'm so glad that we were able to accomplish that. It really helped us in building our fires to keep them contained whenever we smoked our meats. It was a great invention. A lot of work went into it. It took us a couple thousand years, but I'll be damned if we didn't pull it off. And, it really was a life-changing event for not just ourselves, but the entire world.
Now, before the wheel, I know that shows like Family Guy have I believe there's I don't know, I'm sure if you're familiar with the television show Family Guy. Have you watched much television?
I'm not familiar.
No? Okay.
It's this television that you speak of.
Okay, fair. I can appreciate that.
Is that what we're doing right now?
It's
Are
similar.
We on television?
It's similar. Basically what it is how you would paint pictures on the walls of your caves?
Yes.
Okay.
Hieroglyphics.
So it's basically that, but it moves.
The hieroglyphics move?
Yes. We'll have to maybe. That's a yeah. I know that might be a lot. I'm not trying to overwhelm you. Okay. I'm not trying to overwhelm you, but there is a series of pictures that tell stories, and it's what we call a television show. And there's stories, instead of you guys sitting around the fires telling stories of your conquest of the dinosaurs, people would tell stories of other situations that they would find themselves in. And in this one television program, they did speak about the wheel. And I don't know how off they were, because in that time period in the show, it was a joke about how this individual invented the wheel, but no one would listen to him. And of course, it was the one gentleman who his legs didn't work, which I'm sure you can understand that, he couldn't get around. And instead of his friend wanted him to use these wheels so he could go, but he didn't want the wheel. So he was just being dragged around by a warthog. How close is that? Like before the wheel, when you guys would want to go great distances, did you have any techniques, or did you just literally walk everywhere?
We just walked.
Okay.
If something happened and we got attacked and we were unable to defend ourselves and we may lose, a leg or both legs, then we just drag each other to the next destination.
No one gets left behind, I would have to assume. And unless, of course, they were eaten by a dinosaur.
Well, if they were eaten by the dinosaur, at least we were able to kill the dinosaur and then in turn eat both of them.
Now, this may be a bit of a morbid question, but I feel I have to ask it given what you just said. Have there been family members you had that you've lost to the dinosaurs?
A few. It was devastating. That is what brought about the anger for us to kill them.
I can absolutely appreciate that.
We practiced on small animals first, though. Make sure rock's sharp.
Right. Now, how do you exactly prepare dino meat? Is there a certain technique to it, or do you just literally throw it on the fire until it... Fire. Okay. I can appreciate that. Did you guys at any point when you're cooking this dino meat, for example, you're cooking a nice velociraptor and you're eating this meat and you're thinking, this needs a little something. It needs a little something. Did you ever experiment with putting different leaves or anything on them? Or was it just straight, whatever it tasted like you ate?
What do you mean by put the leaves on? The leaves are in the fire.
Right. Okay. I can understand that.
The fire flavored the dinosaur.
Right. That nice fire roasted dino. Okay. I can appreciate that. Is there anything you've had in your life in more recent years that you can say tasted similar to dinosaur, or is it just the gator? Gator is the closest thing for sure. Okay. Now let's talk a little more modern here, because I'm and of course we're obviously going to get to the single and everything. I want to talk about that, but I'd love to learn a little bit more about your own personal life and of course your friends and your family in Septum Bone. In the more modern era, what is it that you guys do to, unfortunately in this world that we live in, even with fantastic dwellings like you guys have in that cave there, you do have to make money to buy things. As much as hunting is fantastic. What is it that you guys do to earn income? I make clothes. Well, let me rephrase. I make the clothes. I do not make the clothes. I make the sticker that the people scan at the store. Okay. I would imagine that requires some technology. There is some technology involved. Yes. Very, very many modern technologies into the UPC sticker. When did you start learning the technology to be able to do that? 2.5 million years ago. Now, I would have to imagine, being around for as many historical events as you have been, do you have any in the history that you can kind of point out that were really fascinating to be there for? I know that's a broad question, but there's a couple that stand out. I think maybe the first Pabst Blue Ribbon. That was a real game changer. The first Pabst Blue Ribbon. I think that's, I don't know. One of the other guys, he found this plant. I do not know what it is called, but he ate it.
And then he saw these really crazy shapes and colors for many hours afterward. He said he spoke to God.
Interesting.
I do not know.
Now, obviously, to go back for a second, I mean, Pabst, obviously is a fantastic beverage. Now, obviously, you were there in 1893 when it won the Blue Ribbon. Do you have any remembrance of that moment?
Yes, I do. I remember it like it was yesterday, actually. I was in the room when they were about to announce the winner, and I said, if it's not Pabst Blue Ribbon, I'm changing the course of history. And I don't know what I would have done, but luckily they did the right thing, and they gave it the Blue Ribbon, thus making it the greatest beer of all time.
Fascinating. Now, you had mentioned this plant. Do you guys still experiment with this particular plant? Have you?
No, sir.
No. Okay.
Scary plant.
Okay. I would imagine that first time when you experience such vivid things, that would have to be just terrifying.
Terrifying, yes. Did not leave cave.
I would imagine. Oh man, it's fascinating to be talking with you here. So, given what we know now of you guys and a little bit about your story here, when did you notice that other humans were starting to replicate what you guys were doing with music and creating different types of music? What was your opinion on that at first?
Well, we just found out about it not long ago, which is what really inspired us to bring our music to the table.
So there was no music that you guys heard up until obviously now that you guys really thought was interesting?
The first music I remember thinking was very interesting was Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson.
Okay. Did you ever get to see MJ in concert?
I did not.
It was outside of your cave.
I did not find out about him until 3 years ago.
Okay. So I would have to imagine that you probably haven't left your cave much in the last few million years.
It's been a while since I have left the cave.
Okay. What are some things that you do in your everyday life now that you have left the cave and you're being introduced to more technology and things of that nature? Is there anything that really just still, even though you do it every day, just really blows your mind?
Yes, fire.
Fire is still fascinating. I mean, to this day, even people of my generation, I spent just a few weeks ago, I spent hours staring into a fire, and it's the best thing that you can do with your time is look at fire.
It's the closest to God you could come.
And I think that's the quote right there. That's the tagline for this. Fire is the closest to God that you can get to. I love that. I appreciate your wisdom on this. Now, I would love to take a second to talk about the new single, Excited Grunt, because we are going to be playing that for everybody in just a few minutes here. So let's take a second and walk me through the writing process of Excited Grunt. When did you guys write Excited Grunt?
I believe it was about, 3 million years ago.
Wow. Okay. So it's been on the back burner for a while.
We have been sitting on it for quite a while. So the origins of the song, I'm glad you asked. So the origins of the song are about the feeling we got when we first made the fire. So we see the fire. Excited grunt.
Okay.
And then after seeing the fire, we made our weapons and we went on our first hunt. When we made our first kill, excited grunt. That is what brought us here today.
It is a pleasure to hear you so articulately describe this song. And I mean, it is before we hear the song, talk to me a little bit more about the other members of the band Septum Bone? What do they bring to the table?
So the other boneheads.
Right, the boneheads. Okay.
The boneheads. So Daniel, he played guitar. He also great cook.
Is he the one that usually cooks the meat?
He prepares the meat medium well.
Oh, very. I meant to
Or
ask
medium
that if
rare.
you guys. Okay, I meant to ask earlier, and I forgot if you guys have a preference for how you like your meat. If you like to burn it, but medium. Okay, good to know.
Medium rare is my preference, but some folks are afraid of the bacteria of the animals. So
I would imagine you guys probably think it makes you stronger. Well, not even think. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure
it does make you strong. If you consume the soul of the animal, it makes you stronger.
I mean, you look fantastic for being over 3 million years old, so you've got to be onto something.
Thank you. I work hard on this physique.
Yeah, very impressive specimen for sure. There's no doubt about that. So Daniel plays guitar, cooks meat.
Cody invents things. He plays the drums. He invented the first drums. Also has great hair.
I've seen a picture of him. He does have fantastic hair.
He can build anything. First wheel built by him.
So the first drum and the first wheel. Wow. Interesting.
He drew plans for the first fire.
He drew plans for it.
He drew the plans for it.
Now, was he the first one? That's almost a whole other conversation to talk about the first time fire was built. Maybe we'll come back to that, but I would love to know how that whole process happened. I would love to be able to have him on maybe with you sometime, and you can translate for him about how that came to be.
That sounds incredible. I will get him out of the cave for that.
Very good.
And then there's Andrew. He is from a few tribes over, but he has joined our tribe to tell folks about the history of mankind and his experiences over the last 3.5 million years or so. He is a bit younger than us.
So he's only a couple million years old.
Yes, roughly 2.8 million, I believe.
Okay, 2.8. So interesting. Okay, I guess it's nice to have that youthful perspective on history.
It definitely helps with the old guys like me. Am I right?
Absolutely. Even though I am not anywhere near your age and your wisdom, I can appreciate getting older in this life. So I think it would be a fantastic time for us to now play this brand new song from Septum Bone, a song that has been sitting at the back of the fire and that they have had for many, many, not even years, centuries. And I think it would be a fantastic time now to play for you all Septum Bone's Excited Grunt. Put on a great pair of headphones, guys. You are going to enjoy this. Crank it up. This is Excited Grunt.
Biological
You guys just heard Septum Bone's brand new single, Excited Grunt. Such a badass fucking track. Tim, man, walk me through the whole process of writing that song.
So we came into the studio. I call it the cave.
Right.
And just like normal, we sat down. We'd been churning out some songs, and this is one that really spoke to us. We'd been working on it for a little while. We scrapped it, started over. Andrew came on board, which was cool. He actually lives a couple hours away. He's about 3 hours, maybe 4 hours away. So his parts were actually recorded in Tennessee. Everything instrument wise was recorded here in North Carolina. And then we sent it to Chris Whited from Body Snatcher. He did the mixing and mastering on it. So came together pretty quick once we got things going. Digital Suntan made the video for us. Pretty cool. Fun little video there. And let me ask you this, man. Can I hear your best excited grunt?
Oh, that's probably that.
That's good. UNGA BUNGA.
Okay, I appreciate UNGA fucking BUNGA, brother. That's it. That's the ticket. Now, with this was interesting for me because I know that this whole band came together from what I saw kind of quickly because you've been pretty open about the fact, and I'd love to just talk about this for a minute, that you did kind of, I don't know if I want to use the word quit music, because you kind of just announced on your social media, like, hey, I'm going to kind of like retire from music, and just, you had a lot happening in life, and you were, if I'm not mistaken, I think like you bought a home and like you got married and all this stuff. Yeah. Like you had a lot going on very quickly, and you just kind of made the decision to step back from music, but you've found your way back. Walk me through that whole process.
So, man, this has happened. I've quit music more times than I can count.
Right.
It's just one of those things, man. Like life got hectic, and I needed to take a step back from my health. And when you don't know what to do, you do what you know. And we kind of got in the room together, and Daniel and I did what Daniel and I do. We started writing, and Cody was, he's a perfect fit for what we do. And then Andrew came in, he was a perfect fit. And everything in this project has kind of just fallen together. It's been really easy as far as getting things moving. And I feel like everything's kind of happened the way it's been intended, because we don't really try, if that makes sense. I know that sounds kind of arrogant, but like,
I know what you mean. It's like when you're, especially like with how long you and Daniel have been playing together, right? Like, because if I'm not mistaken, you guys have been playing together for a very long time.
A few years, yeah.
Yeah.
If I can handle it, I will never play music with anyone but Daniel ever again.
Fucking riff beast for sure.
Kid is talented. He's nasty. He's like the best dude in the world too. Like my little brother. I love him to death.
Yeah, much love to Daniel. I'd love to pick his brain one day on just guitar and music and life, because he just seems like I mean, for me, anyone who writes just nasty fucking riffs, I'm like, you're welcome on my show anytime. There's nothing I love more than a fucking dirty riff.
He's a riff machine.
Yeah,
dude, he's a riff machine. And he does it so like simply. Probably half the riffs in this song he made up on accident, trying to do something else. I'm like, no, keep that.
That's the riff we're going to use. Now, obviously with the style of Septum Bone, was that very much like a conscious effort where it was like, okay, we want to write good music that is fucking awesome, but also, having gotten to know you over the last year or so, it's very much hey, like, we're fun people. We want to write music that is kick ass, but also we're not going to take ourselves too seriously.
That's the whole point of it, man, is having fun. This caveman shit it's limitless. I'm able to be so creative with it, and all of us are able to give such just fun feedback and just have ridiculous ideas and run with them. And we don't really have to limit ourselves with it because of exactly that. We don't take it too seriously. I think there's a lot of danger in taking it too seriously. There's also a lot of danger in taking it not seriously enough, but I would rather err on that side at this point in my life. At least I'm having fun.
Right. And that's what it's all about, right? Like, you can't, like, you have to take your craft seriously. And I mean, you are a fucking phenomenal musician, as is everyone in the band. So, like, that's not a problem. It's like the presentation. Why does everybody have to be just angry dudes and dudettes sitting in an alley, fucking just mean mugging? And like, why does everyone have to be so angry? Like, can't we just have fun?
Right.
Like, I live by that rule. And like, I have never, ever taken myself seriously with anything I do. And it's just like, I think that's just a better way to live life. You can take your craft seriously, but as people have heard, like, you're just a guy trying to make his way in the world, right?
Man, I'm just living and having fun, man. That's the secret to this thing. Just live and have fun, man.
How excited are you? Because I'm assuming that Septum Bone is going to be playing some shows in the future. Is that how excited are you to maybe get that going?
So we're going to be playing limited shows,
right? Especially with them being 3 hours away. With
us. So Cody, he plays in another band called Chained. He's filling in for a band called Curses right now. They're doing a lot of really cool stuff. He just played like a festival with Unearth and Impending Doom and some other pretty big bands.
Badass.
Daniel's in school, so the shows will come. We're going to play sparsely. But for us, it's more about releasing fun music. But those live shows are going to get wild. Let me tell you, we've got some ideas that are absolutely just stupid and so much fun.
The feeling theatrical comes to mind when I hear you say that. Very big and just almost like a wrestling gimmick come to life on stage. That's how I see this.
That's my childhood dream.
Yeah, that's just, I love it. I'm all in. Like, I think it was such a, like, when you hit me up, not only was it great to hear from you, but it was like, hey, I got something new going. Like, here's here's the kind of the concept. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm totally in. And then you sent me the song and I was like, oh shit. Like, okay, like this is what we're doing. It's just fucking awesome to see. To go back for a second, like, you had kind of already joked like, oh, I've quit music a whole bunch of times. Like, is it like, I can relate to a point. Like, there's been a bunch of times where I've gotten to that burnout state even with this, and I'm like, fuck, man, I think I'm gonna go down to bi-weekly, or I think I'm fucking done with this podcast bullshit. Like, do you have any advice for people who might find themselves in that position? Because you always seem to come back. Like,
that's the thing.
That's just come back.
You just come back. You burn yourself out. I think it took me about 4 weeks. About 4 weeks. And
4 solid weeks.
4 hard weeks. And I was like, shit, I got the itch. I got to write with some guys. And that's kind of how this project came about. I started writing with some other guys, and Daniel, Cody was one of those guys, and then Daniel came in to help write. And that kind of broke into Septum Bone eventually. And that's kind of how this whole thing started. And then Andrew came on board at like the perfect time, and it just happened. So that's cool, man. And the best advice is just keep grinding, man. Like, your first show is going to be terrible. The first song you write is going to be terrible. Your first podcast is going to be terrible.
Hey man, speak for yourself. No, I'm kidding.
It may not be, but like,
mine was.
You're gonna. That's just life. Like you've got to learn to suck before you could learn to be good at something.
That's a fucking quote right there. You got to learn to suck before you can learn to be good at stuff. Did anyone say that? Because you need to market that.
I don't know.
I'm Googling it. You've got to learn to suck before you can be good at something. Is that what you said? I think that's what you said.
It's close enough.
Yeah. Why you must suck at something before being great at it. Okay. That's fuck it. I'm going to go ahead and say you just invented a great saying. I'm going to live my life by now, brother.
I'm going to take that.
Yeah. Fucking that's the takeaway from this show here, folks. You've got to learn to suck before you can be good at something.
It's 3 million years of knowledge right
Fuck
there.
Yeah, dude. You learn these things over life. I mean, I'm hoping 7 years in almost with this podcast, I'm gonna not suck soon. That's my hope. But it's just to me, it's not even like a comeback story, because like you said, like I didn't know that you had kind of left and come back a few times, but like it makes me happy when I see people come back to something that they love so much. How was the significant other with the support of this? Was she like, yo, you got to get back to doing this shit? Like,
absolutely. She was like, you're driving me up the walls. You're driving me fucking crazy.
I get it, brother.
Please go write music. For the love of God, do something. And I was like, you're right.
Listen,
you're right.
I say all the time to my future wife, I say to her, I just literally said this to her like a couple hours ago. I'm sitting there on like doing something, and I'm like doing this, like rocking back and forth. I'm thinking about something, and she's like, "What? Like what are you doing? Like what? Like I guess like she's like, you gotta go do a podcast or something. Like being creative is I say a lot, it's my blessing and my curse, right? Because
believe that,
yeah. Because if I don't get that creative energy out, don't even try and have a conversation with me, because I am not present. I am
correct. Absolutely.
I am in 3 rooms over thinking about something completely fucking different.
Yeah. I catch myself just like thinking of ridiculous ideas for Septum Bone. And I'm in the middle of my work day and jotting down notes, and I'm like, fire song about eating fruit.
The one about eating fruit's going to be a fucking banger.
I'm telling you, yeah. I Need Fruit is a banger. Let me tell you, it is the hardest 33 seconds of music you're ever going to hear.
Shit. God damn.
And it was about fruit.
Okay. So I have to put you on the spot for a second here. And this is live. I'm not going to edit this. I need to know. Are we getting some kind of a Septum Bone EP or album? Because I want a collection of songs from Septum Bone.
Yeah, it's coming.
Okay, awesome.
So we're looking probably 6 songs. Excited Grunt will be re-released on it to tell the full story of
the journey of Septum Bone,
making fire, and learning to hunt and
making the wheel, eating fruit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So just the beginning stages of humanity in general. And then, album 2, we progress. Eventually we'll get to today. But by then it'll be, another 2 million years.
I mean, I hope I'm around by then to interview you guys, because I would love to be there at that marvel of what you guys would release. But we'll definitely have to get you guys on for a showcase to share that offering of songs, because I'm very excited to hear what other fascinating stories and journeys you guys have for us, because you've led a fascinating life over the last 3 million years.
It's been a while. It really has been a long 3 million or so. But like I said, you've got to learn to suck at things before you can be awesome at them. And it took a couple million years of just being terrible. Here we are 3 million years later.
And I think that's a beautiful message too. Just you're always learning in this life, right? Even if you're 3 million years old, you're always learning. That's awesome. Well, I'm excited for all that. And I mean, I'm glad that we were able to link up to have a conversation about this, but of course it wouldn't be me and it wouldn't be you if I didn't ask you about what kind of what have you been watching wrestling related lately?
You know, I've been keeping up with AEW more than I have been WWE.
Okay.
But from what I'm seeing, WWE is getting a lot better with Triple H in charge. This CM Punk drama going on in AEW. I don't know if it's a work or not. I'm excited to see what happens with that. We'll already know once this airs, but we'll see. I'm kind of bored with wrestling that isn't Hangman Adam Page, and that's just because I have a dude crush on him.
I mean, who doesn't?
He's great.
I mean, he's a fucking babe. I don't even.
He's great.
Yeah,
he's hilarious. Dude's awesome. I was sad when he lost the title, man.
Yeah, and he also doesn't give a fuck, which I can really appreciate that. Like, he says whatever he feels, and I'm like, that's cool. Like, and he's not a jerk about it, but like, he just, I think it was, I can't remember what it was. Like, Kane said something that was, I think his point of what he said was not well thought out when he said it. It was something about the war in Ukraine. And all Adam Page did was he just shared a gif of Kane being hit in the head with a fucking chair. And I was like, that's the fucking man right there. Like, dude, he just, yeah.
His Twitter is gold.
Yeah.
His Twitter is one of the greatest things to happen to pro wrestling in probably like the last 10 years. He's so funny. I love him. He needs to be a mainstay for the next 20 years or so. I hope he has a great career.
And I hope he does. Like, it's like, I haven't, like, I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like, I haven't been keeping up with wrestling anywhere near as much as I used to, but like, I have really appreciated people like Hangman Adam Page because, like, he's very, you don't have to be a diehard wrestling fan to appreciate him. You know, you can appreciate what he's doing. Whereas some people, like, you look at them and it's like, okay, cool, you can have a 5-star match, but like, what else you got? Like, right. It's just some character work or something. You know?
He actually is a good wrestler too. He's not, flipping around doing gymnastics. I sound like Jim Cornette right now.
Well, goddamn, this fucking flipping around monkey bullshit. Fucking what's he always say? Fucking pockets and his goddamn fucking stupid fucking kicks, the goddamn bullshit, this stupid motherfucker. I need a goddamn double cheese, double mayo, double onion, motherfucker.
Dude, I took a nap the other day and I fell asleep to this podcast.
I don't know why this made me laugh. Dude, I took a nap the other day. Sorry, what were you saying?
So I took a nap and I fell asleep to Cornette's podcast.
Oh my God. I think most people do as well. But
my wife came in and she was like, what is that angry man?
This is a stupid motherfucking goddamn pockets. This fucking
she's like, the angry man.
These motherfuckers are doing over the goddamn AEWs. I don't even know what, like, I'll tune in sometimes. And it always starts off innocently enough, you know. He'll be like, well, goddamn, I was fucking watching the AEW the other night. And, like, I mean, this match was pretty good, I guess. Well, this goddamn stupid motherfuckers, and I'll start going off. And it'll be like 3 hours of him just tearing at the shit. like, there's no, like, do you think it's a gimmick at this point?
No.
Like, no, I think at this point.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't think so.
I know he hates pockets. I know he fucking hates Orange. What the fuck's his name? Orange Cassidy. I know he hates him, and I understand why he hates him. I get it. I think when Orange Cassidy fires up, he's fucking amazing to watch.
Great wrestler, but the gimmick.
It's not old school, and like I do like old school, but I can also appreciate right because he's an old school guy. But then I heard him talking about Danhausen too. And I'm like I love me some Danhausen because I can.
Me too. Again, I think he's hilarious.
Appreciate. Yeah, he's like a fucking Danhausen, the goddamn stupid motherfucker. I don't even know. Like, anytime I hear Jim Cornette start saying "goddamn stupid motherfucker," I just tune out what he says afterwards, and that's all I take away from it. But like, so anytime he fucking, there's nothing I love more then like me and my one buddy, anytime I call him, we'll just do Jim Cornette back and forth. That's all we say.
That's
it's like,
awesome.
What's up, motherfucker? And I'm like, well, goddamn, I'm over here eating a fucking double cheese. Well, these stupid motherfuckers in front of me in traffic, they're gonna get the fuck over, man. The goddamn death tube in the fucking sky. Like, we just like say a bunch of random shit to each other. But yeah, there's nothing I love more sometimes than turning on Cornette's drive-thru and just like, I don't even listen to what he's saying at this point. I just listen to how his voice fluctuates throughout the conversation.
I just like to hear it in the background. There's something about that like Southern anger that just takes me back to childhood.
Just takes me back to childhood. Yeah, I would love someone asked me the other day, like, oh, like who's someone from the wrestling world you'd love to have on the podcast? And I was like, oh, fucking Jim Cornette, of course. I would love to just sit down with Jim Cornette and be like, just have a normal conversation with him. Because I feel like he's like, by all accounts, he's a really nice guy. Just don't fuck up his Dairy Queen order, and you're all right.
Don't fuck with him, and he's probably a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, he's a fucking gentleman. Like, don't try and give him a hard roll, and don't fuck up his Dairy Queen order, and you'll be all right. Like, it's goddamn fucking Yankees and your goddamn hard rolls. I want soft roll. I want soft fucking bread. Fucking In-N-Out burgers, fucking bullshit. Dude, I can just sit here and do Jim Cornette all day. I don't give a fuck. I still think one of my favorite moments in the history of podcasting was Bruce Pritchard telling the George the Rat story.
I don't think I know that.
You don't know that fucking story? Oh my God. Wow. I really don't want to steal a bit from something to wrestle with, but I think I might need to right now. So Bruce Pritchard was chilling at TV and Jim Cornette didn't show up. I was like, oh, where the fuck's Connie? So the phone rings and says, what's up, Connie? Well, goddamn, George died. And in the podcast, all this like really solemn music starts playing, and he goes, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, Corny. Well, what happened? Oh, well, George." Which is George the Rat. It was the rat that the promo of Mankind when he had the rat. Yeah, that was George. That was the rat. It was Jim Cornette's rat. So he says, yeah, goddamn rat, he got sick. We took him to the vet, and the fucking vet had him on the table, and he was blowing air into his little lungs. And like during this thing, Conrad keeps going like, stop, like that's not real. And he's like, I swear to God, that's what he fucking said. And he's breathing air into his little rat lungs. And then they took him in for surgery, open heart surgery. And it was like, and like, he was like, that's not real. Like, there's not open heart surgery for a rat. And he's like, dude, I'm fucking telling you, this is what he said. And obviously I'm butchering this fucking story. But he's like, fucking, goddamn, he's breathing into his little rat lungs. And open heart surgery. And he ended up passing away on the table. And the whole punchline of the whole thing is Bruce said, I think it was like $11,000 Cornette paid or some shit to try and save this fucking rat.
Damn.
And Conrad's just like, that's not real. Like, you're making this up. And he's like, I swear to fucking God, this goddamn rat. Like, so. And then the end of it is that at the time they had a commercial for like mesothelioma or something. They used to always have. And it was like, and Bruce goes, well, maybe he had the fucking mesothelioma. And then it breaks into that commercial and it's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, if you folks don't know, go on YouTube and type in something to wrestle with George the Rat. And it is fantastic. But yeah, anyway, I don't know why I got off on this fucking Jim Cornette tirade, but yeah.
It's because it's anytime me and I talk about Jim Cornette a lot.
Anytime I talk to you, I always think about Jim Cornette. I'm always just, well, goddamn fucking Tim here. His goddamn fucking beard. Singing about his fucking UNGA BUNGA music. Get the fucking goddamn stupid motherfucker. And that's what this has evolved into. Oh my God. Stupid UNGA BUNGA fucking music. Exciting grind. What the fuck? I have to play some real goddamn fucking music. Goddamn foreigner.
Do you have any Grand Funk Railroad over there?
Yeah, Grand Funk Railroad. The best fucking band in the world. I don't actually know if Jim Cornette thinks Grand Funk Railroad's the best band in the world, but it wouldn't shock me if he did.
I hope so.
For the sake of this podcast, we're gonna say that's
it makes for a more compelling storyline.
Yeah. In this storyline, Jim Cornette is a huge Grand Funk Railroad fan. I could see him listening to that. I need my fucking Sprite, my goddamn Grand Funk Railroad. My fucking barbecue. I don't know what I like doing more. I don't know if it's him or if it's the fucking you know something to wrestle with, right? I'm not. Yeah. When he did the fucking well, you know. Every time I make a sandwich, I always Snapchat my buddy. He says, well, you know, you take the mayonnaise and well, you know, the bread.
Oh, brother,
it's fucking fantastic. I have no idea how the fuck I got off on this stupid fucking wrestling podcast tirade, but man, it's funny. Like, wrestling at this point is so like, and I think there's a lot of. I wasn't shocked when you hit me up and we're like, yeah, so like this is what we're doing, kind of, you know, and we're having fun here today. Like, you know, it's like, oh, like this is kind of what we're doing. It's very gimmick inspired. And I'm like, I'm fucking totally in. How fucking cool would it be if there was a wrestler based on the Septum Bone band? How cool would that fucking be?
I would lose my mind. So I've been having this conversation. We're talking about wrestling, so this is perfect time to mention this. So Luchasaurus, I don't know your feelings on Luchasaurus. I'm going to be honest. I don't think he's a great wrestler. But I will say, I did a deep dive on this man. And he has like a master's degree in some sort of like history, prehistoric crap. Anyway, I have a theory about him. I have a feeling this guy's living his like 8-year-old dream. He's a wrestling dinosaur. And to me, that's badass. Not the fact that he's a wrestling dinosaur, but like 8-year-old him is a wrestling dinosaur. I know that sounds ridiculous, but again, he's not a great wrestler. But the fact that he pulled that off and that's what he does with his life, inspiring.
I think it's goals. You know, you want to be a wrestling fucking dinosaur? Just do it. You can.
You can.
You absolutely can.
It's possible. And that's what we've learned today. You can be a wrestling dinosaur if you choose.
And you have to learn to suck before you can be awesome.
That's right. If you don't suck at something, you'll never be good at it.
Fuck yeah. That's the takeaway.
That's the takeaway here. That is my life lesson. Go suck.
Go forth and suck. Jesus, goddamn. All right. Okay. Go forth and suck, folks. And with that, I think that is a wonderful place to end off this conversation. Tim, man, it's always a fucking pleasure, dude. Thank you so much.
Likewise,
for the time.
Man. Appreciate you having me, man.
All right, folks, there you have it. My chat with Tim Coleman from the almighty Septum Bone. That was a ridiculously fun conversation, especially the first half. That was just learning all about their history, what it was like to live alongside the dinosaurs and things of that nature. Just fascinating stuff. And I really got to learn a lot about the real true history of the world. Just amazing stuff. Check out Septum Bone. They deserve your support, and they got a lot more stuff coming. So stay tuned. Tim, thanks so much, brother. You know how much I appreciate you. And thank you to everybody over at the Septum Bone camp. I definitely get the feeling that we will see Septum Bone come on the podcast again sometime in the future. Thank you so very much for listening. It seriously means the world to me. If you would like to support this podcast further, be sure to leave a like or a subscribe. Leave a rating if you can. 5-star ratings help this podcast grow, and I seriously appreciate it. You can also follow The Harder Show on social media. We do have Facebook and Instagram that we use regularly. Also at Twitter, not that I go on there that much. If you would like to get in contact with me for any reason, you can do so by hitting me up on the email at thehardershow@gmail.com. And if you'd like to take things a step further, you can do so by checking out the Harder Show Patreon, which for a very minimal fee, every month you can join and get exclusive content like the Taped of Trepidation podcast, which is my exclusive horror narration podcast that no one hears except for my patrons of the $5 or above tier. I put way too much work into the Taped of Trepidation, but it is so much fun, and I cannot tell you guys how great it is to have the support on that. And I know that people are enjoying it as well, so that just really fills my heart with joy to know that we are getting support on that. It very much means the world to me. And with that, I'm going to take a second to give a shout out to my Patreon supporters, my hardheads. We, of course, have Mr. Scott D. Thanks so much for all the support, brother. We, of course, have the Grey Rooms podcast. What can I say about the Grey Rooms podcast? It's not only the podcast that runs a network that I am proudly a part of, but also the best audio drama podcast in the world. If you're a fan of horror, check them out. We, of course, have Ronan Komori. Ronan, thanks so much, brother. We have Wolf Delta Pi. Thanks so much for everything, man. You know how much I appreciate you. We have Mr. Eric Phones, who was the star of the most recent edition of the Taped of Trepidation, and a lot of people really enjoyed that, so thanks very much for that, Eric. We, of course, then also have the head writer for the Grey Rooms podcast, Arthur Unk. Arthur, thanks for everything, brother. And last but not least, we have Mr. Mike Quintero from Mike's Mystery Mansion, a fantastic horror narration podcast. Mike, thanks for everything, brother. So if you would like a little shout out like that at the end of every single episode of The Harder Show and exclusive content and access to my private servers on Discord, as well as just access to my Discord, check out the Patreon or hit me up and I'll give you access to the Discord. We have a lot of fun there, and I cannot wait to start really diving into the Patreon stuff more after this next week, as it is my wedding, and I am in full wedding mode, hence why this episode was a few days late, but that's okay. Everything's coming together great, and I got something really fun for you guys next week, so stay tuned for that. I cannot wait to share it with you guys, because it is just it is a ridiculous hoot of a time. And with that, I'm going to sign off here, and I will catch you next time on The Harder Show. Take it easy, guys.